Sugar, if you are struggling to juggle your career and family life, you need to hear this. My guest today has cracked the code on balancing work and kids without losing your sanity. Hey, Sugar. Our guest today is a family strategist, an author, speaker, a wife, and listen to this, Sugar, the mother of 7 children. Miss Charlotte Avery is here with us today to tell us how she keeps it all together. Hey, Charlotte.
Hey, friend.
How are you?
I am doing
Let's
well.
just let's just go ahead and get into it because I know the sugars want to know. 7 children. Now that's not a surprise to me, but you don't hear too often 7 kids. So it's what did you always say? Wife of one, mom of seven, party of nine. So talk to me about that. Like what are the ages? Tell the sugars 7 kids?
We have 7 children. I birthed them all because, one of the things that people always want to know is, are you guys a blended family? Are any of them adopted?
Yeah.
They got to know my whole womb story, right? so, so the reality of it is that, yes, I birthed them all. We are not a blended family. My husband and I, we've been married for 22 years soon. And their ages are from 20 to 10.
Wow.
We have 4 girls and 3 boys.
You wear many, 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 many hats. Like I said, author, a speaker, a family strategist. Like how do you juggle it all and stay sane?
So sane is subjective.
Facts.
Okay. So it depends on the day. But, I tell people all the time, I have God, Rod, and my mom. God, that's, of course, God, the Holy One. Rod, my husband, and my mom. I'm so blessed that my mom, has the gift of good health and she's still alive and well and she doesn't live too far from us. And so she, in our family, I always say we have 5 and 2 subs, right? And so, my biggest thing is teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely. And in our family, it really does. I would never be able to do half of the things I do. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant. I write articles and, I'm an entrepreneur. I run, my business and 3 other businesses and, just all the things. But I would never, ever be able to do what I am able to do and what I feel like I've been called to do if we didn't have a really great, strong support system within our family unit, but also outside of our family unit also. And so, I'm a strong proponent of team, of teamwork. I'm a strong proponent of, really strong support systems. And, people always say it takes a village to raise a child, and that's true, but it actually takes the right village.
Yes.
Because you can't have, everybody in the village, because everybody in the village might not have good sense.
And everybody in the village might not be healthy. And we're not talking about physical health, but mental and emotional health. Absolutely. As well. What are they depositing, into the village? So absolutely.
I need to give kudos to my husband because he's really a great head coach for our family. He is, I am blessed to have something that, some women might not have. And that is a husband and a man who is a very present father.
Yeah.
He works hard for our family and he shows up for our family, even after a hard day of work or, anything like that, he shows up. He's very present in the lives of my children. And, I'm not, sometimes I do feel, let me just be real. Sometimes I do feel like I'm doing it all. Yeah. But the reality of it is that I'm blessed to have somebody who really is a teammate. He's not a man who's just like, well, I'm going to work and making money for our family. And you take care of all things concerning the children. Like my husband has coached my son's basketball team after working hard all day. He has shown up to to drive, 3 hours away to take my daughter to gymnastics meets. And he is very, very present. He takes our daughters on dates. He has time out with our boys. And so he's very important. He's really, really crucial. And I thank God for that, because that really, he is a gift.
That's really important. So when people are asking like, oh my God, how does she do it? How does she do it? 7 kids. How does she do it? I can barely wrangle the 3 that I got. How does she do it? That's how, that's how really having that strong family unit, and really being able to delegate. I know a lot of times for us women, that can be a dirty word. We don't like to delegate because the pillows have to go a certain way and the labels have to face out. We can become hyper focused on a lot of little things and miss the big thing, which is how we working this thing out together.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
The question that would come forward is, how does she balance? How does she, balance? And you and I have talked about kind of that term balance. And I just, talked about in the previous episode from last week that work-life balance does not exist. That's not a real thing. There's a whole life balance, that I believe in, but you don't believe in balance at all. You use a different term called blending. So
Yes.
Talk to the sugars about what's the difference between balance and blending, and then what is blending and how do you blend?
So, people always ask me, they always start with the balance word, right? They're always saying, Charlotte, how do you balance having a happy marriage, having, all these kids, doing all the things that you do? Like, how do you balance it all? And, my first response is, I don't balance, I blend. And, for me, and I think for everybody, people will talk about balance. I really think that people are talking about harmony, right? But the thing is that in my world, having a husband, 7 children, doing all the things that I do, balance for me looks like the scale, right? It's like you're giving equal weight to something, to everything. And that's what balance is, because the scale is balanced.
Yeah.
For me, my scale is never balanced. I'm giving more time to my business. I'm giving more time to my husband. I'm giving more time to my kids. I'm giving more time to the devilish laundry. I'm giving, all the things. And so for me, I don't do balance. I don't do to-do lists. To me, to-do lists make me feel very inadequate. It makes me feel like I didn't accomplish everything that I needed to do or set out to do. Yeah. And so for me, blending looks like this. Now, I don't know like how many people are watching that are health people and things like that, but I really, 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 really really like smoothies. And so, I have a blender. And for me, I might put 5 ingredients in my blender for my perfect smoothie. It might be strawberries, blueberries, a banana, some water, maybe some Greek yogurt. Those are my 5 ingredients. Well, on Monday, I might put more strawberries in my smoothie than I did blueberries. Or I might have put more bananas on Tuesday in my smoothie than I did on Monday. But the reality of it is that my smoothie still tastes so good. Right? And so that's how I look at blending. Blending for me is not about to-do lists. It's about priorities. For me, my priorities can change and shift in an instant.
All the time, yes.
So I might start out with my 5 most important things on Monday morning when I wake up.
Right.
And at the drop of a dime, something can change. And then, today I might need to spend more time on my business, especially if I want to make some money, right?
All right.
Which means that I might not spend as much time with my children, but it doesn't mean that I slighted my children. It just means that my priorities for the day are different. And that's okay. It's okay to say, you know what? I didn't get this done today. So, and I might not, because I didn't get it done today, I just might not get it done tomorrow either, because that might not be the priority tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And here, let me just tell you, after 3 kids, like, I squashed mommy guilt real quick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because as
Mm-hmm.
women, whether we are stay-at-home moms, whether we are work-at-home moms,
Mm-hmm.
whether we, are, working outside of the home, and, we're great executives, mommy guilt is so real. But one of the reasons why women go through that is because of the false expectations that we have been given as women that make us feel like, we're not good enough or, I've got to work, and if I'm working outside my home, I've got to work. I've got to come home and still make dinner, and I've got to come home and do this, and I've got to come home and make sure everybody's homework is done. And I'm like, unless you are a single parent, I need to understand why you're doing that all by yourself.
That part.
Because regardless of what kind of woman you are and how you work, there's still never going to be enough time in the day to do all of the things that you set out to do.
Right.
And so at some point as women, we have to recognize our greatness, and we also have to recognize our abilities to be able to say, the to-do list is not working. It's making me feel very inadequate. It's making me feel very unaccomplished. People's false expectations, even my own false expectations of who I thought I was supposed to be, it's okay to say, yeah, I'm not doing that. No is really a very powerful word.
That's a whole sentence.
Not right now.
Right.
They're really powerful words, and that is okay. So for me, when it comes to blending my life, I'm like, yeah, what is the priority of the day?
Absolutely.
And if life just happens, like if school called me right now in the middle of me talking and us having this discourse, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And if I had to go, you and I could pick back up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to love me any less.
Absolutely.
And my children aren't going to love me any less, especially if I have communicated to them what the priorities of the day are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've hit on so many topics here. So even with the blending, and it's funny that you use the term blending, but what you're really describing is how I see balance. I say the same thing. This is why work-life balance doesn't exist. And that's why we keep being on the hamster wheel, because we're trying to strive for something that isn't real anyway. It's like work and everything else that we call life. And if we break that up into financial, wellness, spiritual, emotional relationships, if we were to divide that into 5, we have this big chunk that's called work, and then these little segments over here that we're calling life, and it will never never balance out. And so exactly what you're talking about with the blend and looking at how things are prioritized in your life and what works for you, because clearly what works for you with 7 children is not going to work for me, with no children, with as TT. So the way that we balance or blend, it's however we prioritize, our lives based on the demands that are put on us, what our needs are, or what comes out or what goes in. It's going to look different for everyone. And it's also not static. So I love that you said how it changes. Right. I always say that balance is not something you can set it and forget it. We get stuck because we're trying to balance our life in our 40s the way we did in our 20s. Or you were trying to balance the way that you did at 7 kids when you had it, same way that you did when you had 2 kids or 3 kids. It's unreal. And we're setting ourselves up and putting these high expectations that then when we don't reach it, we turn in on ourselves that we're a bad person, a bad mom, a bad wife, a bad whatever, we say, when really, no, we just have to figure out what works for us. And what you said about mommy guilt, sugar, that's you don't have to be a mommy to feel that. I think that's just something as women, as you stated, when we're given a Barbie doll and it's like, this is the perfect body. This is the, the way that we look, the way we wear our hair, the way we wear our makeup, the way, and it's just so much that the messages that we receive from very early on, from the toys that we play with to the commercials that are on TV, it's a constant message that we have to measure up. We have to look a certain way. We have to sound a certain way. We have to be a good wife means this to, and letting go of all of that is really the first step of freedom to truly finding your ideal balance or blend. It's
I agree.
It's connecting.
I agree with that. And one of my prayers is that, and one of my really big desires is that any woman, even a husband, like anybody watching this, one of my prayers is that they really tap in and to themselves and put like the horse blinders on.
Yes.
So that they can really focus on what's front and center as it pertains to them.
Absolutely.
Because in the world of social media and everything, everybody's living a lie.
Speak on it.
Everybody's living a lie. So we want, it looks like everybody else's life looks so much perfect, so much more perfect than I think that when we can like really focus and do our own inner work, and focus on ourselves and not what somebody else's household looks like or somebody else's what somebody else's life looks like on social media, on the gram, then I think that's when we can like get to a place where we're not dealing with woman guilt or mommy guilt. We're not dealing with other people's false expectations, because really you're just giving them the pinky finger and saying goodbye and rolling out. Yeah. Because now it's like, it is not about you.
But in you talking about the work that you had to do and kind of finding your blend, how long did it take you to really find your rhythm and find your flow, would you say?
Well, I mean, today is whatever day of the week it is.
It's a day by day, sugar.
It is.
Day by day.
It is, because how my life is set up, anything, and I do mean anything can happen at any time. So I'm not going to lie, because, I'm not in the business of being a fraud. Okay.
Amen.
So I'm not going to say, oh, it took me like 3 to 6 months. And no.
Yeah.
The reality of it is it's a day by day situation. And the thing is that it's okay that it's that way, because that's how it works for Charlotte Avery and the A-team.
Absolutely.
And that's also where my sanity lies.
Okay, sugar. So we're going to take a quick pause, but be sure to stay tuned so that you don't miss part 2. Thanks for watching, sugar. See you in the next video.